up in the church around that time. Okay? I was having out-of-body experiences. I was having a whole lot of deja vu. I see all this green energy around me. I didn't know what it was. Later on, I discovered that the reason why I was seeing is green. Sometimes I see blue. Sometimes I see purple and indigo. I discovered that what I was seeing around me in the dark was actually my own aura. So sometimes when I'm in a relaxed state, I can actually see people's auras. And I'm sure that there are some of you in this room who probably have tapped into that. So I'm not saying that my experience is unique and that it doesn't happen to other people, but it did happen to me. The problem is that I thought it was happening to everybody. So when I broke it off, when I used to talk to my mother, she used to chuckle because she just thought I was a little kid looking for attention, and I'd tell my friends about what was going on, and they'd look at me kind of weird. So eventually I learned to shut up about it. But it didn't stop me from wanting to investigate. So my father would talk to me about all kind of crazy stuff. He would say that, you're part of the Cane River Nation. Like, what's that? And later on, he'd tell me what that was. And then he said all kind of crazy stuff about my great-grandmother and how she used to practice voodoo and all that, right? And how she was a voodoo practitioner by night, but a devout Catholic in the daytime, right? And I'm pretty sure that there's some of you that got similar stories. So people are scared of this lady. She was a short lady, but she was like, look, if I tell you not to marry so-and-so, you better not marry so-and-so. I'm going to mess you up. She was matriarch. She was bad, man. Nobody messed with great-grandma. She'll kick off in that ass spiritually. So the thing about it is, eventually I have readings done, and I was told, just to make a long story short, that it was my job to help make my family lineage great. Okay? Restore the name of my family lineage. So, anyway, that's just a piece of my story. I got into Kemetic studies. I went through, I learned from one of the greatest teachers that in the world, that I consider my spiritual father, the Kemetic tradition, Baba Huru Khepra Ptah. I give him a hand to this day. And then I also learned through the West African system, through various teachers. There's also Obafemi Fayemi. He is my elder in the Ifa tradition. But at the same time, he also came in by way of Kemet, right? So a lot of us have been called into different sectors to connect with our ancestors. I think it's important that we respond to the call. Because what happens is that a lot of us are called, but we ignore it. And then our lives spin out of control until we answer that call. Ashe? So, one of the things to get started on your journey when it comes to an African tradition, in fact, most indigenous traditions that I know of, they pay homage to their ancestors. Right? You want to pay homage to your ancestors before you deal with the Orishas, or the Neturu, or the Loa. And I hear people say, oh man, I did all these rituals and nothing worked. Well, that's because you don't have no Ashe. You don't have no Ashe because you don't work with your ancestors. The secret to your spiritual power is in your ancestors. So when you're able to call upon their names and remember them and honor them, they become active in your life. But you see, our ancestors still eat because nothing dies. You don't die. You just transform. So you go to the realm of the invisible. So the ancestors are still working with us. They're still within our DNA. However, they're also on the invisible realm. And most of your ancestors are trying to contact you, but they may be weak because they need to be fed. So they're lingering, but they can't do anything in the physical realm if you do not give them sustenance. So therefore, as you see, I have an ancestral altar, right? And that I've given, today we participated, we've given them fruit. Sometimes you might actually get a scent of something that your ancestors ate, like they might like barbecue or whatever, some greens, some cornbread. You give that to your ancestors. And a lot of us need to learn who our great-grandmother is. In my shocking experiences throughout my life, I discovered a lot of us don't even know who our great-grandmother is. And that's not that far removed from us. But I've seen people get into other religions and they can talk about the Prophet Muhammad and all of his family. They can talk about the Buddha and all of his disciples. They can name all of Jesus' disciples, but they don't know their grandmother. They don't know their great-grandmother's name. They can't even name their grandparents. You know, and this is unheard of in African traditions. But we were taught how to forget about these things. So we got to remember them because they're still alive and they're alive in us. So we have to connect with those ancestors. So sometimes they come to you in dreams, trying to communicate. When you do work with your ancestors, put a dream book by your bed or by your pillow and start writing down those dreams so that you remember them. As soon as you wake up, if you can stay away from an alarm clock shocking you awake and try to get some time in and just wake up at a certain time, just suggest to yourself before you go to bed that I'm going to get up at 5 o'clock, and you'd be surprised how that works. And just lay in the bed and let the recalling of your dream take place. Because most of your dreams may seem like hours, but the majority of the dreams that you have are only 3 minutes. And a lot of times we remember our dreams from back to front. So write your dreams down, because those dreams be loaded with all kinds of symbols in which the ancestors and the higher self, which we call the Ori, is using to communicate with you. So in the traditions in which I learned about that are African-centered, you know, especially in the Ifa, you know, Orisha tradition, you have not just your ancestors, you also have what we call your Ori, which is your head. So when I first wake up, I get up and I hold my head, and I pray. Now there's a song that I sing, but you can actually use the Our Father's prayer and hold your head and pray. You know, and just about all of us know that prayer because it's like the first one we learn, right? But you need to be thankful that you're alive and hold your head because your head is sacred. So in the Ifa tradition, we say that the head holds the divine nature of God. We say the Ori is the divine nature within the head. So you have Ori, and then you have your inner self, Ori Inu. So Ori Inu is your inner self, but the center of Ori Inu is over here in the belly button area. You also have neurons right here in the stomach area. There's a nerve center here. Your inner head is right here. Okay? And then you have Okan, which is your heart. So a lot of times when we're dealing with the heart center, we're sending energy, we're sending vibes out. And the heart area helps you connect to other people. Right? In the Ifa tradition, that's linked to Ogun. Ogun, according to Shekham's work, lines up with Herakahudi, which is the warrior. But he's a non-stop warrior. And he's linked to the heart. Ogun is always working. The heart is always beating. So every time, even when you're sleeping, it's literally beating throughout your whole life. Just like you breathe automatically when you go to sleep. So there's an unseen part of you that is always active. There's something about you that's unseen that keeps you breathing unconsciously. That keeps your heart beating without you willing it to do so. And this shows and proves that there's an unseen part of you that you can tap into. That's very powerful. Because like I mentioned before, you're held together with 15,000 pounds of pressure per square inch. And you're made up of atoms. And you split an atom, and it's enough power to keep a city running for 6 months. And you have this in your being. Right? All these atoms, all these things that you're composed of. And you only utilize like a speck of your power. So when we tap into our ancestors, we're going back millions of years. All the way back to the Big Bang. You have all that ancestral wisdom within you. But, however, you want to work with your immediate ancestors first. You want to work with the ancestors that you know first. Because they know you. And then it's kind of like a chain that goes all the way back. That's why you want to praise the shoulders of those who you stand upon. Because they are who got you where you are today. So you want to talk to those ancestors. It's good to name your most recent ancestors all the way back. Okay? And eventually, you may have deities from those traditions that try to contact you according to who your ancestors are connected to. And let me tell you something. I was having encounters with Orishas and Loas before I got initiated. I was having contact with Kemetic deities and everything else. So you can't convince me that we don't have that somewhere in our DNA. All right? Because what they don't tell you, they'll tell you that they got your ancestors from West Africa. But they don't tell you that there were groups of priests and priestesses that left Kemet, Kush, and went west. And there's a tradition where some say that the Kushites and the people of the Nile area from Kush settled in Benin and settled in Yoruba land. And interesting enough, I seen a picture of, you could probably find it on Google it up, a pyramid in Benin in West Africa that resembles the pyramids of the Kushites. So when we got attacked, when our ancestors were attacked in Africa, a lot of that stuff got destroyed. There were stone cities in West Africa. Not everybody just lived in trees. There wasn't just mud huts. We had it all. In fact, some of the outfits, some of the armor and everything else resembled the samurai armor that you find in Japan. And everything else you find it in Benin. And they had cities and they had walls and everything else that were circular. And now, check this out. White folks is saying that Atlantis was close to the coast of West Africa. I'm not making this up. Okay? So, next time they start telling you that, oh, well, ancient Egypt was a colony of Atlantis. Before you start thinking Aquaman, because that's probably what they're thinking, is Aquaman and some blue-skinned beings and stuff, and whose continent sank all the way out, far out in the Atlantic. Start thinking off the coast of West Africa, because check this out. In that area, the sand that's covering that area was blowing in, and it came in from tides. But anyway, they're saying this. They're saying that that's what was talked about in the writings of Plato, that Atlantis is in West Africa. Okay? So, whatever we're practicing, there's a common thread. All of our ancestors, we were singing to our ancestors, and we danced. In Hinduism, we might do yoga. Hey, you do yoga, fine. But one of the ways that we connected with spirit, the way we did trance in dance, is we dance. So you learn the dances. There's dances to the Orishas. You learn those dances, and you take on what we call the God forms. Because the Orishas don't exist in nature, they also exist within ourselves. So if you understand the holographic model of the universe, you begin to understand that the Orishas are also expressions of your inner universe. Everything that you're seeing outside of you is a reflection of what is going on within. And there's a reason why you're in the situation that you're in now. And a lot of it has to do with your spiritual growth and the teachings that your ancestors are trying to awaken within your being. So each and every one of us, on some level, we agreed to be here in this particular spot. So there's a reason why we feed the head. In Orisha and Ifa tradition, we talk about feeding the head. So you feed the head, or if you know anything about Reiki and doing energy work, you can send energy to the head so that you can be on course, because it's your head that guides you. Notice how the word Orisha contains the word Orisha. Ori meaning head, Sha meaning selected, or seated, something that is planted. Why? Now in West Africa, an Orisha shrine was also planted in the ground. And when you go through initiation, the Orisha is planted in your ground, which is your head, because you are a representative of the earth as well. So the Orisha is that which is planted and paid homage to. It is seated consciousness. And each and every one of us have our own guardian Orishas or Netaru. So what we do is that we awaken that connection, and when you go through initiation, you get married to that force as a priest or priestess. But even more importantly, you are to get married to your destiny. A lot of people actually come to this earth and they die without having reached and fulfilled their destiny. What I do as an Ifa priest or as an Awo is that I make sure that people can align with their destiny. So I have this right here. It's called the Ide. This is symbolic, or this is the symbol of the priest of Orunmila. In other words, I'm married to my destiny. I'm married to the spirit of destiny. That's why I wear this Ide. And what that does is that tells the universe and the cosmic forces to not take my life before it's time. A lot of people, they die before their time, or they die without fulfilling their destiny. With Ifa, that's like your GPS. That's why you go to a diviner, right? If you're confused about what your destiny is. Now I tell a lot of people who say, if you don't believe you have a purpose, well, make one up. And follow that. And 9 times out of 10, you're right on the money. But this society in which we live, they kind of create a cookie cutter belief system where everything is everything. And that you don't have a purpose. You just go to school and go to work. You know, you might have been here to be a scientist. They got you working at McDonald's. Right? You might have been in Africa, an indigenous tradition, you might would have been on the council of elders. But here you are, you're part of the soft taco society of Taco Bell. Where you can't reveal, you know, where you told you can't reveal the secret sauce, or you get fired. Anyway, that's the joke. But hey, the thing about it is that each and every one of us have a destiny. So you want to get married to your destiny. You find out who your orishas are, and you find out where you're supposed to go in life. That's what I do. So, I don't know if you're capable of making my number come across the screen. I didn't think about having a drive board or anything. But I can be reached on Facebook as Khepra Ptah. Or my number is 206-960-7999. You know, so for those who want readings, let me know, and I'll make that happen. And we'll make that arrangement. For those who are interested in lectures, initiations, let me know, and we'll get into that. But the thing about it is that not everybody, and I'm going to tell you something, not everybody is probably here for an initiation. Some people are just here to do what they're doing, and that's fine. I don't preach, I teach, I share, okay? So I'm not here to say that, oh, I'm here to save your soul. You save your own soul. But when you take interest in your destiny, if you want to see what that is, then that's where I come in. A lot of you have been led by various religions, different traditions and faiths. That's fine. But at the same time, what about your personal destiny? Why do you have a certain orisha? Or why certain orishas or forces pop up in your life? Like, for instance, Shango. Like I said earlier, Shango not only deals with the will, and he's linked to the Kemetic deity Haru, but also Shango represents the king. But there may be something that you need to cultivate in yourself that is strategic. Why? Because Shango is the strategizer. How much time we got? You done? Shoot. I was about to really start talking about some stuff.
What? Oh my God. Whoa. What?
You were about to.
I don't feel like I covered anything. But that's cool. I was just warming up. I gotta stop? Okay, now I understand. Well, if you can be here at 6, that'd be cool. You know what I mean?